Hey guys, this is Jay and Shane from Team Tub here to give you just a little deck list on one of the bigger decks in the format coming out, Raykou Eels. So Shane, why don't we have a look at your list over here?
All right. Well, your standard 3 Dynamo, 3 Electric. I don't like 4/4 because then you tend to draw dead late game, and later on you run the 2.
All you really need is
super
2
rods.
electrics anyway and the bench anyway. So.
And plus you run the 2 super rods.
Yeah.
Just in case. This guy, I love him. Like, I've only been playing with him for today, and this guy is ridiculous. He reminds me of Magnezone, and everybody else knows how much I love Magnezone.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, for as long as Magnezone's been in existence, Shane over here has been, has a huge fetish over it.
I love it. And you play your 2 Raikous. This guy is almost the best card in the deck. He's so good.
I mean, it lets you get a lot of crucial KOs. I mean, especially mirrors. Take out your electrics.
It's ridiculous. And then
too much good stuff.
Your 2 Mewtwo's. And these are for your rogue matchups, honestly. Because if you set up a Mewtwo and you're playing against a rogue, 9 times out of 10 they can't really do anything to it.
Don't forget the mirror.
You could just roll them.
And especially those random Garbodors that come out of nowhere.
What eel variant doesn't have Mewtwo in it?
Yeah. What deck besides Garchomp doesn't run Mewtwo?
Tracheum. EX.
2 Thundurus.
2 Thundurus. One of my favorite cards. This is honestly your best turn 1. Because it lets you get your energy going. And then 1 Tecamolga. It's a free retreat. I can get 2 eels. I can get an eel and an EX or whatever. It's a good tech. Then your standard staple supporters. 4 Juniper, 4N. You gotta play it. Because we don't have Pont anymore, sadly.
We'll talk about that issue much later.
Yeah. And right now I'm running only 2 Biancas. Trying to keep it consistent. Don't wanna...
Why no random receivers?
I do run random receivers. I run 3. 2. 2 catchers. 3 catchers. You know, gotta run it. 3 switches to make sure you don't get too disrupted. That's always the shittiest thing.
Yeah.
When playing this deck is getting an eel caught up and you can't move it.
Especially with Sky Arrows, it doesn't affect electrics, you know.
2 random receivers. 3 level balls. 2 Sky Arrow. Trying to get to that as soon as possible, but you don't want to run 3. 2 Max Potion for shenanigans. That's your gimmick right there.
Especially super good, since I mean you're discarding energy anyway. So
yes. With Rayquaza and Raikou, 2 Ultra Balls. Search shit out. Energy Switch for more gimmicky shenanigan plays later on.
Energy Switch is a lot better than a lot of people think. So
2 plus power, let you get that little bit of extra that you need. Helps you kill Mewtwo's. 2 Super Rod, get back everything that you need. And I think it's 6 Lightning, 4 Fire, and 2 DCs. I might want to up the lightning energy, but I don't know what I want to take out. This list is super tight as it is. But anyway, that's the list.
So here we are again with Shane, Jay, and Neil over here from Team Tub as well. So what are your general thoughts on the deck? You've been playing the deck for a while. So.
I've been playing Electric since Electric came out.
Victories.
So I know how to play the Electric deck, but there's so many options you have now.
Not even kidding. Eel, like, what is it? Eels box is now like a legitimate deck option now.
Like you can just play whatever you want with eels.
And Raikou's become a really good option. I took a second place Battle Roads with triple Raikou Eels. So obviously Eels is has so many options.
It's ridiculous.
Like the fact that he stuck a Mewtwo, Raikou, Thunder. You could stick in so many things in that thing. Registeel.
Like
People
80%
Registeel.
of EXs you can play in the Eel deck.
Exactly.
The only one that you couldn't play is Darkrai, and that's the only other.
But that's too
playable
good on
EX.
its own anyways.
Yeah.
So let's not even talk about that.
But what?
I mean, what do
how consistent do you think it is? Like.
I don't know. It's hard to talk about consistency in this format.
Yeah.
Supporters,
It's hard to talk
trust me,
about.
we're gonna have a nice conversation about supporters much later.
But
But
like it does well if just like I guess any of the top tier decks right now, if you can get it set up right, you can just kind of guarantee a game after you've taken a prize. Like just depending on your opponent's field. But one thing I would ever fear is really Darkrai Hydreigon, just because it does have a great comeback. Even if it
Ridiculous comeback factor.
might not win, but it can take a lot of prizes from 6 to 1.
Like in the thing with Rayquaza Eels is that the Rayquaza takes away that bad matchup because of the weakness.
yeah, rather than being the 3 standard, if it wasn't a dragon type, now you need only 2 to knock out Hydreigons. And once you knock out Hydreigons, it's game.
Yeah, because before you would need a Zekrom EX to take out a Hydreigon.
Yeah.
And now you don't need to do that anymore, so you can take the whole liability of Zekrom EX
Yeah.
out of the deck.
Yeah.
And like electric.
And I know you're happy about that.
Yeah. No go on Zekrom EX.
Yep.
He's
Lost 2 rounds. The only 2 rounds it states because of Zekrom EX being my only starter. And it was because he was my only starter I lost.
I mean, Eels have always been a good, consistent deck. I think the only reason why it's so good is because there are way too many cards that synergize well with it.
Yeah.
Way too many cards. Every time we get something, we got Ultra Ball and Darkness Force and Raikou. It's like, oh hey, look at all these high energy. What? Guess what? You can discard it to the discard pile. And what do we have? We have Eels. We have Electric. Bring back everything.
I honestly think that RayEels is the best deck in the format right now.
I really,
Like on paper.
on paper, definitely.
It is definitely.
Because
the
I
best
mean,
deck.
Raikou sets up fast. The Sky Outrage
acceleration.
makes things way too good. And not only that, but it provides a lot of control that a lot of decks can't really go up against. I mean, sniping for 100 consistently, it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up with. And a lot of like, especially with how fast we can set up, if they still have Dino setting up and Hydreigon Darkrai, it takes a while to set up.
It can.
It can take a while to set up. And then if you can set up fast, which this deck isn't hard to set up fast, you can easily knock out key cards before they can even get their 100.
Yeah, that's why I want to up the energy count, because you need to have those energies in your discard as soon as you get the electric stuff. Because when I was playing Magnezone, there are points in the game where I know I have them in checkmate because of what I have on my bench, because of the energy that I have in my discard. In this thing, you can do the same thing with Rayquaza. Because of that second attack, it's ridiculous. It's Lost Burn. That's exactly what it is.
And only better because if it's Lost Burn, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. But hey, it's discard, so let's recycle that sucker.
Exactly.
Recycle them suckers. I guess
one point that Joe did forget to mention is that you can KO Darkrai.
Yep.
And
you can't.
shot.
This.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rayquazas can knock out any EX for 3 energies.
That's the best thing about this deck, in my opinion. Hydreigon, scary. I'm not that scared of Darkrai. No, get it away.
Oh, and for any of you who don't know, this guy over here who's talking to us is Preston, another member of the team. You'll soon see a lot of us soon. This is Preston. So yeah, definitely, you brought up a good point. Rayquazas can easily knock out any Pokemon in the game for just 3 energy. The only thing I would even imagine it not surviving is, I guess, the Wailord with 200 HP. Man, oh man, everyone knows how good of a card that is in this format.
Garchomp.
Oh.
If you get a turn 2 Garchomp and rush that eel,
That is a bit of a
deck, it just...
But
It's hard.
Garchomp has an inherently bad matchup against Eels.
But you remember the
Well,
Dragon Blade.
You're not playing Zekrom.
Dragon Blade can't screw you over. But you have to think about it, like, because I mean, Garchomp, Altaria, I mean, obviously it's just, unlike Eels, because Electric is a stage 1, right? But then, has a bunch of basic Pokemon to back it up. For Garchomp, it's not really much of an issue, but it's something you have to think about. You do have to set up
I've had quite
stage 1s and stage 2s.
Well,
Most
no,
decks in the
you set up turn 2, Garchomp, attach energy, go.
well then,
A lot of pressure,
one thing
60
that
damage.
one honest thing you can do is like if you see the Garchomp, if you see they're obviously playing Garchomps, there's no way you can't not see them playing Garchomp.
I feel like
Don't
there's less
really
people
think they're
playing
gonna-
Garchomp now because of the Battle Rose results, but like it's still a deck to like.
It's still a deck to
don't go
watch out
around.
for.
Yeah.
It's just you have to remember that. You guys have to remember. You know,
It just needs a little bit more for the deck to make it to tier 1.
yeah.
It's a good deck, but I don't think it's tier 1 right now.
The right list hasn't been found yet.
Yeah.
But either way, like Eel's engine is just Eel's boxes.
Yeah.
Any Eel's at variant, it's just consistent. It's good.
There's a lot of colorless type.
We have to remember that Eels was considered the best deck in format until Darkrai came along.
Yeah.
And then screwed the entire world's top 16.
Darkrai's speed.
Speed Cry was. It's not even talking about
Stupid.
Speed Cry. What was it? Like
Force Miracle.
like what was it? 13 out of the top 16 decks in Worlds with Darkrai.
Yeah.
It was like 13 or something. There's like one Mew Excelgor like Vileplume, and then what was it? Then one Zekioles.
All Darkrai, Hydreigon, top 8.
Well, also you have to factor in how many people were actually playing Darkrai.
Everyone's playing Darkrai. It's Darkrai Mewtwo. The best cards in this format just combined together to just blast everything.
Yeah.
That's the only thing is, if everybody wasn't playing that, a lot of the other decks would have had a better chance.
Because with that deck though, like
It's fast. It beats the time. That's why it's so popular at tournaments because it beats time. You don't have to
it'll
wait
get
till
turn 190. It can do turn 190, which is stupid as hell.
Because if there was no time limit, everyone would just be playing Vileplume. Like honestly, everyone would just be playing Vileplume if there's no time limit because it disrupts so much of the meta at the time.
But let's not get too far away before, because remember we are doing talking about Eels in general now.
Well, yeah.
So
Eels is pretty
you liking the
dominant.
deck so far?
It's never gonna go away.
I've been testing with it for like the past like 2 hours, and it's when I can set up and I can get 2 wheels and like a Thundurus or a Mewtwo. I'm like, okay.
2 Eels by turn 3, you're looking good if you have a thunderous start. Otherwise, it's a little bit harder to get that energy into discard unless you like get the really bad.
And especially the Thunderous start, like the Thunderous start swings a lot of your matchups too, because a lot of the decks have an issue with early game pressure.
Yep.
And if you can apply that early game pressure, you will have a very good advantage. I mean, even if Darkrai Hydreigon does have like max potions, I mean they're not gonna waste it that early in the game. You have to one thing to think about that, but not only that, there's only 3 in the deck, and there's no guarantee that they're gonna have it. So as long as you put that early game pressure, either make them waste resources or just to put that damage on the board.
I mean,
It's
as
not a good start.
a player personally, I always think they have max potion. I always assume that hey, they have the answer to what I'm going to do. So I always try to go for a one shot. If I can go for it, I'm gonna go for a one shot. I don't like tiptoeing around and doing like stuff like that. Like you have to understand that your opponent most likely is going to have that out. I mean, because look at what happened to what's his face in the final match of Worlds, the final round. Oh my! When he made that Mewtwo play, when he shaman 10 energies on the Mewtwo and just said go, and fought that the Puerto Rican guy couldn't drop a Mewtwo with a DCE on it. Couldn't
Pretty sure it was
possibly.
Portuguese. Pretty sure it was Portuguese.
Yeah, he was from Portugal.
Yeah.
But
America.
but that guy, like he was like, there's no possible way that this guy could bench a Mewtwo with DCE and go. And what happened? I know that was a ballsy play, and if he couldn't respond to it, then that would have been it. But
he responded to it, and he got the
yeah,
win.
that's why I'm saying that you always have to think that your opponent is going to be able to answer what you're doing.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
as a player.
Playing 1-1 with the Tubs.
But anyway, is there anything else that we need to bring up about the deck?
I mean, what kind of tier would you? What kind of tier would you
Tier
say?
one.
Tier 1.
Tier one?
Definitely tier 1.
What would you say?
Any
Just for,
deck that has a Pokemon that can one-shot an EX, that's tier 1.
I mean, would you rather talk about like eel variants in general right now? Like what other cards would you ever consider in eel's deck?
Alright,
You know how
well.
many cards that is? They just don't make like the energy requirements for the Pokemon cards that are printed now. It's like 1 of and then 2 colorless.
Yep.
So like you can just run prisms or a certain type if you don't.
Or
want
even a
anything
DCE
enhanced.
anyway.
Yeah. Like there's so much stuff that can be run with eels.
Like there's anything that you can run that.
Even bad cards. Like just like anything can be run with eels. Any colorless Pokemon, Buffalon can be run with eels.
Yep.
Like, and that's the answer for EX. If you don't
Tornadus
wanna
EX
risk
too.
that 2 prize exchange. Yeah, Tornadus. It just, I mean, I've even seen Terrakion being played in eels, just because like they'll run that instead of like the 4 fire with Rayquaza, they'll run like the 4 fighting. It goes anywhere just because like you constantly get back energy acceleration without it having to be an item. It just has to be a bench warmer. And that's super duper good.
And the thing is with these with these variants, you always have like the rogue variant. Well, they'll bench that one Pokemon where you're like, I need to kill that Pokemon right now, or I'm gonna lose. Like when I'm playing the mirror and I see a Terrakion benched, I'm like,
I'm gonna kill it.
well,
I'm gonna kill it.
and that distracts from what you really need to kill.
Yeah.
Like the eels
Definitely.
and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't like kill the Terrakion, you need to be able to respond to retaliate and maybe a Land Crush,
Yeah.
Which is, and that I mean, would you? I would say that like the techie options just make that like so hard to deal with because like because there's so many cards that you can run with it. You have so like if you decide to run just eels box in general. Like just a general good slew of attackers, it's very distracting. Like what you said. Like if you see someone playing a certain kind of deck and you have the answer to that, you put it down and they'll be like, oh man, this is causing me issues. Then you forget about that. There are other cards that they can come from behind it. Like there's like maybe there's like a Terrakion. You're running against a Terrakion. You put down the Tornadus and maybe like Eviolite or something. It's like, oh man, it's gonna cause me issues. And then I guess they'll try to distract you from like fighting in eels or something. It's one. That's what I would do is to save my eels. Like you'd have to use things as bait. Yeah.
You'd have to like sacrifice 2 prizes just to keep your eels safe.
Because the eels engine is just so good.
Yeah.
It's so consistent. There's so much synergy with everything we have in the format right now.
That's what makes the deck good.
That's why. That's personally why I think eels is the best deck in the format. Like it's ridiculous just the amount of stuff that you can pull off. And Rayquaza EX is just a champ.
Well, we touched on it a bit earlier, but let's talk about the other candidate for best in the format, Hydreigon Darkrai.
Hydreigon Darkrai.
And, I mean,
I think
like I said, it has the Rayquaza is definitely a good option against the Hydreigons. And definitely against the Darkrai, since 3 energies, and that's the KO as long as they don't have equal
That
life.
deck, like, I think, like now that I think about it, that deck in Eels and RayEels are tied for the best in the format, honestly. Because there's just so much stupid shit.
There's a lot of synergy within these decks.
Yeah.
They all just kind of flow together once you have these right cards. The only thing about the Hydreigon deck is just like
there's nothing
dead
to
draw.
Yeah.
It's because you have to pile in at stage 2 instead of having stage 1.
And not only that, but like, although like in my opinion, I think one of the issues, like as long as you can get those Pokemon set out, you have to remember there's very few Pokemon that can OHKO everything in the deck. Maybe Zekrom EX, but that takes a bit of energy investment even with Eels. Darkrai's, we talk about Terrakion, but with Eviolite, those numbers are thrown off again. Same thing with Rayquaza. You can get those 3 energies on there, and it's not hard to, but that does take a little energy investment. And that's really why a lot of decks have the issue with the Hydreigon.
And it's it's the not being able to one-shot Darkrai's. That's what does it.
And there's nothing in Zekil's that can do that at all.
Besides
Rayquaza.
like being able to one-shot a Darkrai and being able to respond each turn and keep prize for prize with Darkrai is what you need to be able to say, hey, this is what this deck is capable of.
And
If you can consistently trade prizes with Hydreigon and Darkrai without having to resort to like gimmicky cards, you know? Like that's what sets tier 1 from tier 2.
this definitely has a solid base against Hydreigon and Darkrai.
Yeah.
It can definitely get the KO, and it can definitely keep up the prizes, especially with the Sky Arrow Bridge Engine and all the one retreat Pokemon.
Yeah, that Sky Arrow is.
It can definitely keep up with that.
Just that, like having a Rayquaza that can one-shot the active while you boost up a Raikou on the bench,
Or another Rayquaza.
and just shoot the bench. There's gonna be a Sableye or two out there. There's gonna be like, if you killed a Hydreigon, they're gonna try to set up again. You just keep poking at them.
And the Raikous is just a great cleanup. I mean, after you knock out like
Yeah, exactly.
core,
It's like,
you have a Raikou. It's like, oh hey, are you trying to like they kill me in time to set up? Oh hey, look, you're trying to set up now. Let me stop you for a bit with the late game Raikou sniper.
Yeah, and that's what I've run into that a lot. It's like I have to get the Sableye out so you can get back some of the resources so I can progress through my game. And then there's a Raikou on the bench with 2 energy. It only gets a Dynamotor and sent to the active, and that's game. I mean, like it hits the active really hard, hits the bench really hard. RayEels is super duper good deck.
It just puts pressure everywhere. It just puts pressure everywhere.
The way that I see that you can beat Darkrai Hydreigon really like super consistently is that you need to be able to set up and get turn 280 and be able to keep on doing turn 280 with Thunderous.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If you can do that and answer every Dino, you'll win. But if they can get set up like by turn turn 3 or late game, turn 6 or 7, and they get a Darkrai with 3 energies and a Hydreigon out, and you can't answer that Hydreigon, you will lose. Because then at that point they'll be able to set up a second one.
Yeah. It's just
Like,
so much damage buffer.
Their late game is incredible.
Yeah.
Hydreigon Darkrai's late game is incredible because by that time they've already gone through half of their deck,
Yeah.
and they can.
And more dead draw.
Yeah, there's no more dead draws going on, and you can set up a Sableye, get back 2 max potions, and just be like, have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, we've already had the verdict. We think it's a tier 1 deck. It's so good. It keeps pressure everywhere, which is something that a lot of, like, Garchomp, Altaria is more for early pressure and it kind of falls off. The same thing with a lot of decks in the format, like Zebstrika, Garbodor, Terrakion, Ninetales, and Munkus. Very good early pressure that falls off late game. Hydreigon and Darkrai just has very good staying time. It can stay in the game for so long, just tanking. But with Eels box, RayEels, RayEels, whatever kind of eels you want, but it's particularly Raikou, Rayquaza eels, it definitely keeps pressure everywhere. Just swinging, and then not only that, but taking back the energy that you lost. This is just so good. It can keep up with the best decks. It can prize exchange easily. It can easily knock out stuff with proper energy investment, proper energy keeping track of everything. So, we definitely think it's a tier 1 deck.
It's honestly the best one.
And there we go. There you have it. So, thanks for tuning in. That was kind of just a broad idea. If you guys have any suggestions on, like, I guess, other ways that RayEels has kind of advantage over anything, any issues you see with it, well, leave comments with suggestions in the section below.
That'd be nice.
That would be nice, because, Pokemon is about collaboration, it's about, interaction. And yeah, so leave us a comment, or even just leave a comment to give us advice on how to improve our little videos and
Our little crappy.
Our little crappy homemade videos.
Criticize us.
We will take everything.
Alright, guys.
But yeah, thanks a lot. Tune in. We'll be coming out with more practice matches, deck profiles, cards of the weeks, and maybe even a set review, especially that Plasma Gale set that came out a couple weeks ago, and the upcoming Boundaries Cross. We'll talk about maybe what kind of cards we'll be expecting from that. But yeah, thanks for watching. This is Jay.
Shane.
Neil.
Preston back there, telling you that no matter what you do, you're just helping me, bro.